Let me tell you something that most people in this industry don't want to admit. The marketing game is broken, has been for a while. You've got brands spending $10, $20,000, sometimes $50, zero a month on creative agencies that are producing the same recycled content that performed 2 years ago. You've got founders bootstrapping their businesses, pouring money into ad creative that takes 3 weeks to produce and flops in 48 hours. And on the other side, you've got consumers who've developed an almost supernatural ability to detect when something is fake, polished, and paid for. The market has shifted. Authenticity wins, raw wins, human wins. And that's exactly why UGC, user-generated content, became the most powerful format in digital advertising over the last few years. Because it looks real, it feels real. It bypasses the part of the human brain that filters out ads and speaks directly to the part that trusts recommendations from real people. The problem? Real UGC is expensive, slow, and inconsistent. You're managing creators, doing revisions, waiting on deliverables, and hoping the person you hired actually knows how to sell your product. Most of the time, they don't. So when Higgsfield dropped Marketing Studio 2.0, and specifically this new feature called hooks, I paid attention, because if this works the way they say it does, we're not talking about a minor upgrade to an AI tool. We're talking about a fundamental shift in how marketing creative gets produced. I tested it thoroughly, and I'm going to give you the full breakdown: what worked, what didn't, and most importantly, what this actually means for anyone trying to build a brand or run ads in 2024. First, let's talk about what hooks actually is. The concept is straightforward. You come into Higgsfield's Marketing Studio, and you're presented with a library of hook structures, pre-built frameworks for the opening seconds of a video ad. Now, here's how I actually tested it, and I was intentionally brutal about this. I didn't use a real product. I invented one, a cereal called Neuronist Quantum Crunch. Completely fictional. I made up the ingredients, made up the technology, literally called it neuroadaptive grain technology, and wrote a description positioning it as a futuristic, high-performance breakfast engineered for focus, mental clarity, and clean energy. Why did I do it this way? Because I wanted to remove any possibility of the AI falling back on existing product knowledge. I wanted to see if it could take my description, internalize it, and actually sell it. That's the real test of whether a tool like this has genuine marketing intelligence or whether it's just a fancy video generator. I selected an avatar, a character called Sophia, and I chose the product hit hook first. The concept: object flies into frame, hits the subject, brief reaction, pivots to product, high energy, immediate pattern interruption. Exactly the kind of open that stops a scroll. The first result genuinely surprised me. The product throw worked. The AI character caught the cereal box. Transition into the pitch was clean. And then this is the part that got my attention. The voiceover was natural, not robotic, not stilted. It sounded like a real person who actually used the product and was genuinely excited about it. And everything it said, the lion's mane, the green tea caffeine, the clean energy without a crash, was pulled directly from the description I provided. It wasn't hallucinating features. It wasn't going off script. It took my brief and it delivered for 15 seconds of content. That's a legitimate ad. That's something you could run. And the scary part? It took less than 2 minutes to generate the second test. The interview hook didn't work. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. The format broke down. There was about 1 second of a second voice at the very start, and then nothing. No interviewer, no back and forth. Just the character speaking directly to camera. The interview structure, which is one of the highest performing UGC formats because it implies social proof and adds a layer of credibility, simply didn't execute. The character spoke about the product accurately, but the hook was broken, and a broken hook means a broken ad. This matters because if you're running paid traffic and your hook doesn't land, you're wasting money from the first frame. You don't get credit for almost nailing it. Either the hook works or it doesn't. The third and fourth tests were where things got interesting. I switched to the unboxing format, random object as the mic. Now, on paper, that sounds absurd. A character holding a cucumber as a microphone while unboxing cereal. But here's the thing. That exact kind of weird, unexpected, pattern-breaking content is what performs on short-form platforms right now. It's memorable, it's shareable, it makes people stop and think, wait, what am I watching? And that confusion buys you an extra 2, 3, 4 seconds of watch time, which is all you need to deliver your message. The first version of this was only 8 seconds. And I'll be transparent, that was my fault. I hadn't adjusted the duration setting. I left it at the default. The content itself was solid. The hook concept worked, but 8 seconds isn't enough room to build any real product story, so I went back. fixed the duration to 15 seconds, and I added something extra. I changed the environment setting to an airplane. Specifically, the character sitting on the wing of an airplane, the character content, excellent. Natural delivery, accurate product information, compelling hook execution. The background, the airplane wing looked rough. The engine geometry was off. It looked like early generation AI rendering on the environment side, but, and this is the part most people are going to miss, nobody watches a UGC ad for the background. When you're scrolling through content on your phone, you're not analyzing the environmental rendering quality. You're watching the person, you're listening to what they're saying, you're responding to their energy. The background is noise, the foreground is everything, and the foreground held up. So what does all of this actually mean? Let's get into the real conversation. There's a pattern I've seen over and over again with new AI tools. The people who test them look for reasons to dismiss them. They find the flaws, the broken interview hook, the rough airplane CGI, the 8-second duration mistake, and they use those flaws to justify not changing how they operate. They go back to doing things the way they've always done them. And then 6 months later, they're watching their competitors run circles around them with content that costs a fraction of what they're spending. I've seen this play out in web design, in copywriting, in video editing. Every single time a powerful AI tool drops, the early adopters win and the skeptics catch up too late. The marketers who figure out how to systematize this, how to build a testing pipeline around it, how to combine strong product descriptions with the right hook structures, how to use the tool's output as a starting point rather than a final product, those are the people who are going to be dominating their categories while everyone else is still paying agencies and waiting 3 weeks for a single creative asset. The leverage is real. The question is whether you're going to use it. Most people won't. That's what makes it an opportunity.